rivkah. I remember it was the kicking that did it. Those two were both already so full of spirit. It was like they were trying to race out of me. Pride swelled before I doubled over in pain again. I tried to hold on to how happy I was, how long we'd wanted this. Held on to that image of my husband pleading, 20 years of my husband entreating. I love him. And he loves me, and we were going to have a family, finally, me. And this man I fell for, he would never be the father who disappears, and I would never try and lock them away. And our God was giving this to us, so why did it hurt so much? Why was this happening to me? And so I went. And so I asked. And our God answered me. And then I almost wished he had it. One people shall be mightier than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. Suddenly, I knew the future. They were complicated from the outset, all red and screaming and ankle-grabbing, not at all alike, and yet both so innocent. But I looked at them and I knew. God had told me what was going to happen, and how could I not let that taint me? So I didn't tell my husband. Didn't want to burden him with this, wanted him to have his two beautiful boys equal in his dim yet wise eyes. I wonder if he was inclined to our older son because he felt my distance from him. If it was his unconscious way of balancing the scales. I didn't mean it. I tried to make up for it in countless ways, let him keep his things in my home, made sure he knew I was still his mother, my little red-headed boy. Wildfires, the field made flesh. He was so like me. I saw in him that same spark, that same drive that led me here to this land with this man, that spark that led me to say, I will go when my mother and brother were telling me to say no. In my younger boy, I saw my husband, my two homebound men, wells and cooking. And I'd like to think we would have realized he'd be the one to pass the torch to. That he'd be the one to continue on God's path, the road before him paved and smooth. But I still should have said something before my older son married those women, before he began drifting away in their horrible scented smoke. He can't see through it to our bitterness at the taste. We didn't stop him. Never told him not to, even though I wanted to, and I am not the type to let something pass me by. Not when I met my father-in-law's servant and drew all that water from that well, buckets and buckets. My hands blistered and my back ached, and if I hadn't, I'd still be in my mother's house, in my brother's house, my nursemaid by my side while swatting shabis out of sheep's eyes, but I did. And when I got here, I built a home for me and my husband, but for my own son, I did nothing, and now he's so far gone. And now I'm standing in this doorway, hearing them talk, and my husband, this man I fell for, he's getting the words all wrong. This is not what God told me. I just wanted to understand my pain. I didn't want to know, but I had been told, so was this why? It must be. It has never made sense until now. All these years of trying to clear my clouded judgment, push the prophecy away, and the smoke has finally parted with the gust of this conversation. I wonder for a moment if maybe I was told so I would know that my wayward son would not inherit my settled husband's call. That it'd be my little boy in his tent, his simplicity and domesticity. I would know, and know not to do anything, and let God do what God does. But no, I know that's not it. It's just a desperate hope. Why would I be told if being told was just so I would do nothing? Doing nothing has lost me one son. I will not fail them both. I have to. And I know what to do. And so I'll go. I am so sorry, my love.